Here is a real example of a coastal zone delimitation. In European countries is an area considered that extends seawards to territorial limits. That means the territorial sea, while by others the edge of the continental shelf at around the 200 m depth contour is regarded as this limit in the ocean. These are examples of physical features to establish boundaries. This image shows maritime zones established by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. As you can see, maritime zones are part of the boundaries of countries' sovereignty. In the Learn More section, you'll discover a series of issues pertaining to the establishment of boundaries in maritime and coastal zones, including challenges associated with natural resources of economic significance. Another example for coastal zone definition is through the use of fixed limits. As the name implies, specify a fixed distance away from the coast which is considered coastal. Usually this distance is calculated from some measure of the boundary between the land and water at the coast. For example, the high water mark. For the ocean component, usually apply the limit of governmental jurisdiction, for example the limits of territorial seas. This can be an example of administrative boundaries. This is the case for the Sri Lanka coastal zone. Check the next image. If we consider biological characteristics, then a broad definition would describe the coastal zone as the part of the land affected by its proximity to the sea, and that part of the sea affected by its proximity to the land as the extent to which man's land-based activities have a measurable influence on water, chemistry, and marine ecology. This definition also carries another ambiguity. To what extent do human activities on land affect water chemistry and marine ecology? Okay. Here's an alternative definition based on biological characteristics. The coastal zone constitutes a wide and heterogeneous region that maintains intense physical, biological, and socio-economic interactions, where a dynamic exchange of energy and materials occurs between terrestrial and marine ecosystems and the atmosphere. Wow! This sounds like a 3D definition. For the purpose of our course, we will use an engineering definition. According to the Coastal Engineering Research Center from the United States, the coastal zone is the transition zone between the marine and terrestrial environments, directly under the influence of marine hydrodynamic processes, extending from the continental shelf at the ocean limit, up to the first major topographic change above the range of maximum storm surge. Remember, the definition of coastal zone will depend on the purpose for which the definition is established. The extent of the coastal zone will vary according to the nature of the needs, whether for scientific, political, administrative, or ecological purposes. In fact, in Mexico, coastal zone boundaries may also be established at the scales of 3 government levels.